Good day and welcome back to my channel. So this is the final installment in the Tamiya 148 scale F-14 in the Jolly Rogers VF-84 build. In essence, this is doing the final bits and the weathering, and then the last pictures. This was a pretty entertaining little journey. Again, I've always, as I am with all of my kits, I always feel that there's so much more I could do better, but with each one I'm learning to do more and more. But you know what, I can just waffle on and on and on about this, but hey, let's just go ahead and take a look and see how I finished up this one. All right, so now with the majority of the pieces put together, it's time to start weathering. So I have intentionally left off the tailplanes, the wings, and the vertical stabilizers. I also have the tires off as well. So I'm going to start with the weathering of essentially the landing gear bays, which essentially, let me pull this. So the landing gear bays, I'm probably going to use the Agrex Earth Shade because it's more of a brownish shade. I don't want to go black and white, and that's, I could go with non-oil or I could go with oils, but I prefer the look of the brownish shades for that and the tires. Then we'll go into the various different weathering shades for the rest of the aircraft. Now I know a lot of folks do the pre-shading with the painting. I still struggle with that a great deal, so I'm going to do this one again in using the post-shading with oils and pigments. At some point, I should get my hands on one of the filters that you can do the mottling with, M-O-T-T-ling with, but I don't have one yet, so perhaps at some point in the near future. Since I don't, then we're going to go with the way I'm going now. I also have not done the ordnance, and I'm actually on the fence about whether I'm even going to bother putting them on for various reasons. But that'll be a later me issue. But so I still have the wings separable, so that I can go ahead and do the majority of the weathering with the wings off. I can match them on, right? I can match them with this on. It says 6 1/2 dozen the other kind of thing, but anyway, so that's where I'm going now. The start, like I said, where I'm going to start is in the landing gear base. We'll go ahead and start working on that, and now we'll get into the weathering. See where we go. All right, so weathering is just like I have been before. It's basically dot filter with oils, and I still am struggling on the timing, letting it dry just enough so that it's easy to pick up with a cotton bud and a paper towel without really overstaining the area. But on the flip side, Tomcat's a really dirty bird, so I can get away with it, and it's okay, sort of okay. I'm not overly happy with it, but I did do better on this one than I have in the past. And again, that's the whole point about doing things. Now, this one I switched to the MIG Ammo oil brushers. It's like, okay, instead of using my artist oils and white spirits, I said let's try using the MIG Ammo ones, and they cleaned up better. They still were they still stained the area probably more than I wanted to, but I went back with white spirits and was able to clean a good bit of that off. And then it just moved to the top. And again, the top, same deal. This one I did with oil spirits again, with oils and spirits again, because I kind of felt like I had more control. And I tried to keep it a little more refined instead of making them heavy. And went back. Now this time what I'm doing is touching with white spirits and then using the cotton bud right away. And I found that worked better. or at least, I kind of felt like it looked better. And I spent some time here on the back part. And this is where like pre-shading would have shown up, and I intentionally wiped off the oils and got the oils to stain kind of where pre-shading would have been. And that kind of gave me the rough look that I was after. So you can see there where the general effect was. So I just kind of kept moving around the aircraft kind of like that. And that was kind of where I was wanting to go. So once I did that, then it was, time to sort of start putting the rest of the things together. Once the rest of the oil weathering was done, I could go ahead, put the tires on, glue them in place, put the wings on, glue them in place. Because that way I could work on all those and did all the detailing before that. Go ahead and remove the mask, which is what I'm doing here. And if you recall, maybe you don't, but I had done the mask, sort of half of the mask was done with masking tape, and the other half was with that stuff, the liquid frisket. And it actually worked pretty well. I think I like frisket better. But then, so go ahead, we'll get the wings on. And then once I did that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab my pigments, because this is where I get the detail, the dirty detail that I still struggle with getting with oils. I like the look of that. It stains the surface of the plane, and it gives me the look that I'm after. And once I did that, get the vertical stabilizers in and glue them in place and just start walking around, putting on all the little detail parts I didn't have on there because I was going to break them while I was doing the weathering. Because these things I would have just broken off. They would have, had a broken the front pitot tube. I would have broken these things off. Would have broken off the wheels. I've also got the tail hook that would have broken off. So had to do all that and then just glue on all the detail parts. Then, I know I was wondering about the armaments, because look at all the transfers that go on them. But I figured, you know what? I'll go ahead and do it. Spend some time on it, get into it. And when you spend the time and actually do them, they come out looking pretty nice. So I ended up doing 2 sets each, or 3 sets of, basically 2 missiles of each of the 3 sets for the armament that I was running with. So that right there is basically what I was going with, and that's what I ended up putting on the aircraft. All right, and with that, I'm going to call this one done. Yeah, it was quite an experience, and I liked it. It was the 1/32nd scale version of this aircraft was a dog. Not the kind of thing I would have expected from Tamiya. So, that particular series got a good bit of hate because I wasn't too fond of Tamiya. And Tamiya really blew their reputation as far as I was concerned with that one. With this one, they made up for it. And we really show again with the 1/32nd scale, charging modern prices for not modern kit. So this one, worth every penny. It went together very well. The engineering was very well thought out. The ability to put it together in sections, it made it much more workable to paint, as well as, assemble. So all of that was really, really nice. My only real issue with this build was the transfers, and that was me, not the kit. I just could not get motivated to do that. I know there was at one point in one part of this video or this series, I said I didn't know if I was actually going to put the armaments on because I didn't know if I wanted to deal with the transfers. I did end up, right, as you can see, they're on there. I did end up go ahead and spending another couple days just buckling down and doing those. But I must have spent a week working on the transfers just because there were so many. And really, there's not a lot. There really aren't that lot. This is, if I thought that was a lot, when I go to do the F4, that doesn't bode well. But I will do the F4, and I will do the transfers. It's just for some reason I just was struggling with it, and that was me, not anything else. These transfers went on well. I will say, like these here, especially up for the nose art, that it really did go in well. Um, I struggled with the weathering, and this is again my skill set, not anything else. I'm still struggling with getting the washes to work right. Um, I am not a fan of pre-shading. I'm not a fan of like doing the black and white modeling and then spray painting over. I might try that on the F4. I'd have to get the mask. We'll see. My airbrush and I still fight. So, but overall, I am content with the result that I got out of this one. I did learn a bit. Like I said, it did go ahead and put the armaments on. I feel like, you know, it adds what it needs. Probably should go and put like the, you know, remove before flight tags in there, just because these, I mean, obviously the pilots aren't in there and this is not ready for launch. So it really should be, they should have them. But I liked, you know, I really like the engineering. I like the way this kit went together. I will go ahead, put some photos up here at the end. Excuse me. Let's see. The only other thing I was going to say, like the weathering, it came out, I'm actually moderately content. I know, you know, I use the pigments, and I do like how the pigments work. I like the pigments give me an effect that I seem to struggle getting with oils. So I'm going to keep doing that. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video and this series was useful, entertaining, or whatever. If anybody has any suggestions, comments, whatever, please feel free to put them down below. I always read them, but please just ask, keep them respectful. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Hope this was enjoyable, and happy modeling, everybody.